just the right size wheel. No,
I think someone cleaned it up because I saw it was an empty wheel.
Maybe I'll go back a bit, see if that helps.
Yes, just the right size wheel. Big delay. No, I think someone cleaned it up because I saw it. Mind the way.
Yes, you are.
It's not unmanageable.
Oh, you're moving it now.
Well, just kind of wanted to put this bin.
Oh, I moved so that I could.
That's straight.
Didn't see the camera.
Any? Good. Too much?
It's a bit.
Sorry,
So you can, which way do you want me to go?
I'm not sure.
So as I move it, other way? So the top's going up.
It's very slow.
Then we lose the ball.
Yeah, looks okay.
Okay.
That's better.
Sorry.
So we praise Manjushri.
Possible. We can do a praise to Manjushri. Why not? I'm just going to start the recording. Go to this computer. All right. Someone said obeisance to Manjushri?
Yes.
Yes.
There you go. Ask and you shall receive.
Obeisance to my Guru and protector Manjushri, who holds in his heart of Tsultrim text symbolic community all things as they are. His understanding shines forth as the sun and cloud. Your traces of ignorance, who teaches exists always. Patient love of Father for his only Son. All creatures caught in prisons of sorrow, confused in the darkness of ignorance, overwhelmed by suffering. You, whose dragon thunder proclamation of the Dharma, arouses us from the stupid realms and frees us from the iron chains of our karma, whose powerful sword of wisdom views our suffering where it is about to appear, the very darkness of all ignorance, I entreat you, O Manjushri, whose princely body is adorned 112 marks of Buddha, who has completed 10 stages achieving the highest perfection of Bodhisattva, who has been pure from the beginning, I Manjushri, all thy brilliance of your wisdom, illuminate the darkness enclosing my mind, enlighten my intelligence and wisdom, so that I gain insight into the Buddha's words and the text. Sargi Koki Chushin
Sangi Chodansoke Chonamba Chancho Padu Dani Kyasuchi Kaki Shushiki Petsanamgi Dola Kachi Sange Drupashu Sangi Chodansoke Chonamba Chancho Padu Dani Kyasuchi Kaki Shushiki Petsanamgi Dola Kachi Sange Drupashu Sangi Chodansoke Chonamba Chancho Padu Dani Kyasuchi Bagi Chushiki Betsanamgi Dola Penche Sangi Dola Kanki Tuzingi Zoni Tawa Tamchi Pampi Chere Tampi Chuni Tunze Kodam Kela Chanze Lo Good morning everyone.
Good morning, Geshe.
Lots of extra. Kazi Santi, then Dogun Joy, Moas, Sare, Sacheti, Dogun Joy, Moas.
So good morning, everyone. We're going to go back to the text and pick up from the point that we left off in the previous session. So looking at the third chapter, we're completing the presentation of the 7 limbs. We have been looking at the dedication, I believe. Yeah, dedication. Let's look at the outline. So we've been looking at the 4th point in the preparation, dedication of virtue. Today we're going to pick up from verse 10, dedicating so that virtue acts as a cause for all that one wishes.
Sunjin Ponshi Ola, Dan Mississippi Guti, Yoji Kokun Hatsos, Dunan Yuan Incutis, she and Jordan Sunjin Yoji Ponshi Ola, Dan Monchevi, Mississippi Guti, Chindi Yoji Kokun Hatsos, Yoshi, Jubalan Betsun, never never Cutis.
Let's look at the root verse. Verse 10 reads, "May I become an inexhaustible treasure for destitute and poor sentient beings, and abide as various requisites and necessities in front of them. For the sentient beings that are destitute and lack the requisites and necessities of life, may I become a treasure that is inexhaustible despite being used. May I abide effortlessly in front of them as the various necessities they need."
Retan Namsuchitanki, Moata, Monum Chiagi, Moata, Monum Chini, Simjin Shelaya, Umpun Yantalaya, Chipeni, Kani, 6 Sambo, Yavatan, Yelaya, 10 Sambo, Comba, Pento Sambo, Comba Samchiki, Pashomalaya, Uspi, Bachik, and Chicken Guduma Sebra, Sobatan, and Chik. Nen Narala Soba, Nasa, and Chik, Jump to the Soba Tindich. Moose, the Yoyati, the cover was Pilaya, Chinanki, Tendeki, came on Zombale, 2 years was covered was the Inayang, and same thing, pensum, pensum Kibuenza, and pensum Bashiki Tony, and it told the Tamjiki Misale, Broko as Moto, and pensum Choglu Achida, pensum Yola Melachiki, and in Anzo Tower Tamjiki Misale, Brutu Marilla. Lojong Yam sending J, Yunguyo Mares, in the sending Jinway, same thing, and handsome Bashik, going along to a G, Yongelaya, and it more the mono Gaya, the super muscle, kitchen which I was rest.
We have made a distinction between aspiration and dedication, but anyway, here, when we look at the dedication, you might dedicate your virtue for a particular purpose, or you might make some aspirational prayers. Simply saying the words, of course, it's not going to be enough in order to eliminate the hunger and thirst that sentient beings experience. It's not going to be enough in order to liberate them from whatever pain or sickness they experience. So just aspiring for that or saying the words, of course, it's not going to cut it, because in order for their pain and sickness to go away, in order for famine, hunger, and so forth to be eliminated, many conditions need to come together, right? Simply saying the words is not going to directly affect the situation. But what we do here, we develop solely an altruistic intention. And with the altruistic intention that is intent solely on benefiting others, we progress towards the ground of liberation and omniscience. If we are devoid of an altruistic intention, or our altruistic intention is partial, we will not attain the state of liberation or the state of omniscience. We will not attain that level. So here it is important also to generate that wholehearted altruistic intention that will be complete in all ways. It is important to do that when you dedicate your virtue, when you make such aspirations.
And socially yobatia, Shana Tamatuva, Rangi Samaneva, two Sichi, and Pame Lonjula and Grosha, and the Pemambu Yunguras, the same Gulu Tamatu, in the same Jonder chair, the same Joya, the Blow Joya, and in Kijin Pinjin Chagores.
The main point here has to do with training our mind. We're training a mind in the benefit of others, because even if you have all the necessities that can be used for the benefit of others, still without training your mind and intending to benefit them, without preparing your mind to that, you will not do that. You will not be able to give away to others. You will not be able to find ways to be of benefit to others. You will enjoy your necessities and resources in a way that is unconscientious without using them for the benefit of others. And therefore, training a mind in at least the intention to be of benefit to others is crucial, it is important.
Kapkalang also the chick and the Sani Kori, Mani Kori, Chema Kori, Chick Samchin, Sosolaya, some of the Chikiwangi, Tene, that kind of pen a penjoto in the Sayagi, some of Legoras, was Kapkalaya, no the Kidos, on some of the Kigoras. Inea, baby Palaya, some of the Tamina. It's our in Chikim going so that Pena Nangaralaya. Soju Mitsigi and Chongrum layer sound down. Then the long up Chungachi Sundroviori, long up Chungachi Tirin layer, Magic, Tamutang Shibana, Sawa Yini, any lochimare, dichimare, maubalaya, much gore something. Near Sounding Sanyomis, Tichidi, Talong of Chunachilla, Sindri, Tangi Maubalaya, Chikosan, Savan, and number of some rich. Some did town the chick. There's mother Mevan, the Tanya, let her be shadows.
From time to time, a thought of accumulating does occur to us. We think that I will have to use it tomorrow, or the day after, or next month, or next year. I need to accumulate. I need that. So that thought, I need money, or I need wealth, does occur to us, right? It does arise in our mind, that thought that I need that. And Geshe reckons that when you start to think about it, you can see sometimes how it is not really a valid way of thinking. Like, for example, Geshe said that at least him on a personal level, being in his early 50s, so far he hadn't had that thought or that idea that I need to save money or to accumulate money, and that I will have to do it for next year or the year after that. So he hasn't developed that habit of thinking about it like that. And because of that, Geshe says that the thought of giving things away occurs to him quite easy, right? If you don't have that thought that I need to accumulate it because I need it for next year, you find it easier to give things away. Geshe said that having arrived here in Australia, he had a few people, some of his friends, that felt sorry for him, that, you know, is not a person that knows how to save money.
These are Alexander that one did it some down the Suzuki Kaswatachi. Lot of Kia Delia, Kango Chigi sort of draw. The young is another co Karina Chicho that managing that interest shed in the Lambu Yumi Kanshimo, near some down and D Mansuki don't send down and Pensum give lot of the Kia Kango Chigi some of that. And some tango, some chill toya, some tango, and another Suzu, some tango, Messina, church, Jan, Missiki, that deliatic, and it means you can millia church with some chew pilea. Thing of Hakazu to some town, at the zoo one inch, and the Suzu Lojon teach all ya. No, we are studying Kango Chigus or something, so tenderly do raw.
So Geshe has been told a couple of times before that not having that idea that he needs to save some money or to have some saving is not a good way to go forward. Anyway, when he thinks about what prevents us from developing great determination in working for the sake of others, it is those attitudes that we've just mentioned. The things that prevent us from being able to give, from developing an altruistic intention, the wish to be of benefit to others. What prevents us are those states of mind. So think about it. At least when Geshe says that when he thinks about it, in terms of having born in this life, being exposed to the Dharma, spending his time in studying and practicing the Dharma, also teaching it to others, he genuinely thinks that what prevents us from developing a greater altruistic intention, a greater intention to give, and so forth, are those ideas that we need to accumulate, money, that we need to accumulate wealth, and so forth.
The Gabu Celia Tronchin, 아니 야시 론주 나타 용수 줘봐 안 소소라야 당원 여바지 차고되니 또참 르단치 로 소수기 비기 뜻지 시사마시와는 뜻지 사다다 아니 지 부부주 존재는 르단치 로 차선 싸우니 메비토 차선 싸우니 메비토다 아니 에 같이 두르 난치 상기여로스로 상기여로 딘디치 만남 파드 아니 상기 고초나 딘디치 만남바 탑메바지 차고여자 어딘 나온지는 배우여로스로
Especially when you look at it from the viewpoint of the life story of the Buddha, having spent 6 years in ascetic practices. First of all, giving up on his status as a prince in a royal court, where he had the choice, the opportunity to enjoy whatever he wanted in terms of sensual pleasures, in terms of foods and drinks and so forth. He gave it all up, not only that, but also his family life, his son and so forth, and sought the state of Buddhahood. So just looking at that from the viewpoint of the life story of the Buddha, Geshe reckons that we can see how if our wish is to become Buddha, then this is what is required in order to attain the state of Buddha, to develop the mind that is capable of giving all those things up.
데르데즈다 링가바들이야 짐비 파치 냠스레비 양라 레야 훈드 류론주 게자토의 삼바장바를 수스 류론주 게자토의 삼바장바타 게와치무스비 gyurumhu와타 론주비 gyurum 메보고 당부 류론주 게자토의 삼바장바를 순 동이 출당 니버 땅르비 견센타 땅이 제대르비 출로 당부 동이 출네 류단론주 류단 계시 논주당 교송계와 탐지장 숨진군 유ten르지 편밤에바 땅을 차스.
And that brings us to the next point in the outline. Let's look at that. Training in the mind that gives away body, material wealth, and roots of virtue is divided into 3 points. Training in a thought to give away body, material wealth, and roots of virtue, aspiring for virtue to become a cause that does not go to waste, and aspiring for virtue to become a cause for material resources, body, etc. Let's start with training in the thought to give away body, material wealth, and roots of virtue, which again is divided into 3 sections, the way to give them away, the reason it is reasonable to give away in a definite manner, and how to practice one has given them away.
데르데즈 당기 디레도다 동수스 류론주 게자 동원라 아니 컨더스탄고리 슬라운디 조디 류 아니 류무스 피기래야 마당나야 류 동이 상바장고레 세티 내가 조디 디토가 파고도스라 상바장고레 nganchu 류래야 따번진비 땅진게 왕기 아니 류치데 체데야다 아니 센니 왕기 아니 론주 인데야 세나치진 신의 땅만투에서 소 디디 지까니 여러와스 람 로나노메 디디 까나도 시 있으면도 nganchu 류다 론주로 소바디 엔지 자원 여비톤 소소에 땅진 체지 여러스 자원이 여마로스 자원이 여마로스.
So first off, we are looking at the point of training in the attitude, in the thought of giving away our body, possessions, and roots of virtue. So when we think of training in the thought of giving away a body, we might not be in a situation where we can actually, on a practical level, give away our body, but we still need to train in the thought, in the attitude of giving away our body. And we need to do that because currently we hold the body as being very dear to us, with the sense of clinging to that idea that there's something permanent about the body, right? Clinging to permanence. And also with respect to our resources, we have a similar attitude, and also being involved with miserliness, we cannot give them away to others. So is it the case that we can retain a body or take hold of the body and our resources with a sense of independence in them not being subject to impermanence? This is not the case at all, right? We don't have the power to enjoy permanently our body and resources.
There was been a manzugi, you'll listen to that. You'll in the Ludam, and Lonjula Sobigi, and it Nedam Tidan, none same gi, and it does something with the Kama to the and it tinning with the Manyam Biwangi, and in Anzulea, Kanga Chegoras.
Really, when you look at these objects, so these objects are our body and resources. There's the way that they exist and the way that our inner mind views them. And there is an imbalance between those two things. There is an imbalance between the way that they exist and the way that the mind makes them be. And because of that, we experience problems.
And Nelu than Tomba, and Ranshin, Gui, Ranshin, the Tumba Chiki, and the sandwich down to Vaina. I think could Nelu Tomba, the Nelu Tomba, T. W. Pena, and the Sangi at the Dachum Combatorial Sober. It's some law. And Nelu, you Nelu Tommy W. Yongo does.
Whereas if our way of viewing our body and resources would be in accord with the way that they exist in an actual sense, it would mean that we see reality. We see the way that they exist. And the only way to attain states such as the ground of Buddha is through coming to see reality the way that it is.
Chitri Chisa, Yuk Tonita, Manzu Lutaundi, Manzu Lutaundi, Tenepe, Kanga Techi, Semjelan, and or Dindi Chagos, Magiba Yon and Samolo, Dindi Yungoros.
Whereas so long as we hold our body and resources with a sense of permanence, and also we hold them dear due to that, we are incapable of giving them up. And when we're incapable of giving them up, then we experience difficulties and mental unhappiness.
And Pento Yubi Kalaya, Pento Yubi Kalaya, and Peju Yubi Kalaya, and down to Baina. Tanya to the Masana, Yakshudres. Down to Dian, Pemba Meva Tanches, Sitamatela, Pamba Mevaslana, Chapa Meva. Or Chapa Meva Tangoris. Chassam Kanji, Chas, indeed, Yulia, Chassam Shuchim, Yadi, and it Numbu on the Chassam Kio Remato. You Corona, indeed, Chassam Kio, you'll saw in the tree of Maris.
Looking at verse 11. It says, also my body, possessions, and all virtues of the 3 times I will give away without regret to achieve the purpose of sentient beings. So when those things are beneficial to us, when our body, possessions, and roots of virtue are of benefit to us, when they are of use to us, this is the best time to give them away. And the way to give them away is as indicated in the 3rd line. I shall give away without regret or without a sense of loss. To give them away without regret or without a sense of loss would be without being attached to them. Without being attached to them, because that sense of attachment sees them in a way that is unrealistic. So we give them away without a sense of attachment, without a state of mind that sees them in a way that does not accord with reality.
데레다 수수기 내루 심토네 문진 지투비 토네 땅바이나 아니 샘디 박피부 연구여라스 샘기부 연구여라스 디마도 수수기 땅마도 아니 차슴 숙치무지 시우지기 여빙나야 아니 이 다지 롱절 소비다 내루기 왕기 아니 쇼르바다 아니 지 아니 톨라드라 소바 총송바이나 디니 샘나 마숑지
So if you give them away with seeing the way of existing, seeing the reality, and you are able to identify that, then your mind can become open and relaxed. Whereas if you give them away with a sense of attachment, it wouldn't be like that, right? Your mind would not be made open and relaxed. When we have attachments to our body possessions and so forth, then we have to give them away. We lose them or they go to waste. We experience problems, right? Geshe Domination says, with respect to the way of giving, also my body and possessions, such as food and drink, and all my virtues that are contained in the three doors within the three times, I offer with a mind free from regret and dependence to achieve the temporary and ultimate purpose of sentient beings.
니방 땅 리비 견선을 니스 땅 고그리 땅 리바레스 땅 리비 견선 가르레스 라운디 아니 탐젤라 차고 방시 땅위 냥데 터바당스 심진 진비 신초임비 델 동리 보스 당보 탐젤라 방바 탐젤라 차고 방시 땅위 냥데 터바니 탐체 땅위 냥인데 다원 냥인데 버주스.
Now, with respect to the second point in the outline, let's just look at where we are. So we looked at the way to give, and now we're going to look at the reason it is reasonable to give away in a definite manner, which covers 2 points. The first is due to abandoning the attachment to all and giving, one will attain nirvana. And the second is all sentient beings are supreme field. As sentient beings are supreme, the supreme field, it is reasonable to give to them. Let's begin with the first 2 lines in verse 12. Sorry. It says, giving everything one goes beyond misery. My mind achieves the going beyond misery.
탐제 땅이 냥인다스. 냥인 데발이야. 다쯤 공부토발이야. 르론주 탐제래야 미비 착바방고래만 착바도고만 착바마도 다쯤 공부토세 요마라스.
And when verse 12 says, giving everything one goes beyond sorrow, it means giving everything one attains nirvana. My mind achieves nirvana through giving everything away. So in order to attain the state of an arhat, you need to turn your back on attachment that is attached to body possessions and so forth. Only if you can overcome attachment to them, the state of nirvana, the state of an arhat, will be achieved.
아니 샘딩에 타와 탐지기 고모토 뉴에 만주 로레 톱 뉴위엔자 아니 디 타블롱이 아니 가서다 타블럼 비기 때와디 아니 차바도 저 내루 통이통 아니 차바께서기 유 아니 유다 론줄로 소비 내루 통이통 아니 차바도 그랬어.
After all, we have gone for refuge and we've also accepted upon ourselves the vow. We have taken the vow. And we did that with having the final purpose in mind, the final purpose being liberation or the state of omniscience, and thinking that this is what I wish to attain. I want to attain the state of liberation and the state of omniscience. And the main way to do that is to overcome our attachment. And we overcome attachment through seeing the reality, the mode of abidance of the things that we're attached to.
아니 샘이야 강을 채대와 마기와 용대야 흰고라스 딘자 아니 난주 비기 샘딩이야 아니 지 디지 두위어자 디기고나 아니 뜻을 땅이야 요 샘딩 비기 아니 르땅 투바이나 그 디기 자차도스
Inevitably, we will have to relinquish them. We will have to relinquish our body, possessions, and so forth. Even if currently we do not develop the mind that is intent on relinquishing them, giving them up, inevitably we will have. We will get to the point where, for example, our body will start to give up on us in the sense that we'll find it difficult to sit down. We'll find it difficult to rise up. And even if on a mental level, we don't develop the attitude of, I give up on this body, I relinquish it, at some point we'll have to do that. It will inevitably happen. And when that happens, when you don't have the intention to do that, we know that we experience unhappiness. Our mind is made very unhappy. So since we want to be happy, we're seeking happiness and well-being. The way to accomplish a happiness and well-being is to develop the willingness to give it up. So this is what we need to do in order to develop that root of happiness, to develop the ability to relinquish them before you get to the point where you have to do that.
아니 강아 체용들이 삼시 까까이고도 상관주 수치냐 디니르 단사와이나도 배 강아 체기를 상상을 디 이게 용약建筑로 등한지 아니 천남다식 라 철에 미치 삼장장치 아니 제마트가 왕기 용기여서레스 라 용기여서레스 간지는 공기 끼워 담아도 용수 저를 땅비 또기 아니 상기와 자점 공부터와 아니 산이 샘바침 차이라 서 참말로 르동 투도기 종샤와지마도 르 마다미 기부친데 종샤와 싸우니요 말아 싸우니요 말아 저 인생 안주 못해요 가래 안주 못해요 안주 취 남다지 양내 건조성이야 샘지 르지기 빼려야 아니 때 맞고 왕기 르당 투네와 대야 견자 직차도 왔어.
So we need to develop that state of mind that is able to relinquish the things that we possess. And if you ask yourself, what are the things that I have to, what state of mind do I need to stop in order to develop the mind that is capable of giving things up? Well, what we need to stop is the thought that if I give it away, if I relinquish it, I will have problems. I will have difficulties. This is the state of mind that we need to stop, because when we are training in the attitude of giving things up, relinquishing them, one thing that a mind keeps telling us is that if you do that, you will have problems. In order to practice Dharma purely, we need to have this pure trust in the Dharma. And without having pure trust in the Dharma, a man will still keep telling us that if we do that, we'll have problems, we'll have difficulties. So when we look at the excellent masters of the past, the holy beings of the past, we can see based upon their life story that when they developed that complete trust in the Dharma, through which they were able to relinquish everything away, they were able to attain the state of Buddhahood, or they were able to achieve the high level of development. They were able to attain the grounds and so forth through developing the mind that is capable of relinquishing things, giving them up. So why can't we do that? Well, one reason that we cannot do that is that we haven't developed a complete, wholehearted reliance upon the refuge, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha.
Kadu kandachi cheba inaya nge thangda lengua gi samsung lengua samsung ki lotabchi gogudo asra chitang gi penanga chik mitsi chik nangi mitsi sen di chik donang gi chedo manzu pe kalishu gyap thu oras sorry Kalishu Gyalti Gorsara, Din Hanshingi, and Chew turned, Tava Tamchi Kimi turned. Kadu Kandachi Chewina, Cheva in the Yangi, Tangling in Samsung, Lord of Giovanna, and Kandaskanga Cheva in the Yan, Donachi Tuyak, and Nivach Suzula, let to Wesseras Rock.
We need to have courage. We need to be determined to take on difficulties and problems should we face them, should we encounter them. We need to be determined to work with difficulties and problems. Otherwise, if we're focused on this lifetime only and whatever we do is oriented towards this life, it'd be hard for us to work with difficulties and problems when they are encountered.
Kazusugi bege any le don chetu ti tsugi any yawachimalaya any pen shu chembon regiosras ra nanzi any jizajamu sonda da shiki tendu so tomas pi luda lonje pashan so tsunjen pe any tang tuwachi lebaina and yawachima mentuni any Chulayan Bezenchi Tuya, Chudrup Tuyachi, Yungioras, Manzu Di, and Tawa Tamji Komasiati, then how would you give talk to Yajida, Zawin in the Omaras, Giovanni Gio Ginching, Kalaja was Sunday, Pemba Diana, and Giovachima Dendrole, Gichi, Milanchi, and Tandigi, Chavati, Mentuni, and Tutuyaki, the Yungiosaris, Roy.
If you can develop the determination to relinquish things in this life, it will bring an immense benefit in future lifetimes. And that is the attitude that the protector Maitreya spoke of when he said, give up even your own life for the sake of the Dhamma. What he meant when he said that is to give up the purpose of this life in order to be able to make effort in the practice of the Dhamma through keeping in mind that it'd be difficult for us to attain the final result in this life. What we need to have is a succession of good rebirths to find a happy rebirth, a pleasant rebirth in next lifetime in a happy state of existence, so that we can continue to secure the succession of good lifetimes, to continue our spiritual development, to attain finally the state of liberation and the state of enlightenment. Being able to do that would mean would be facilitated or would be enabled through relinquishing the purpose of this life. We'll be able to develop consistency, to persist in a practice with effort in order to secure all the positive things that will happen in future lifetimes and beyond. So we looked at the first two lines in verse 12. The commentary says, my mind wants to achieve the non-abiding state beyond misery, or non-abiding nirvana. And giving up one's body, possessions, and all roots of virtue enables one to achieve that aim. Hence, it is suitable to give up everything.
And the Tsigdi Tamjit Nami Nyangen Dasedi. Nyangen Devadi, Pena Jajum Kombana Javano, Niran Jajum Kombana Javano, any Tamjit Tam Sedi, any Tamjelaya Chapakibi was Tamba, and Tamjela Chava Pamba, Tamjela Chava Pambi, any Jajum Komatogo is. Who's Judge Saras, and Tamchi Town is lonely, Lu Lonju gets at the Cheva, Tamchi, Shen Tami, Nyande, any Tartu, any Minimi Yang in the combat, Minimi Yang in the combat, Tortu race.
Looking at the first line in verse 12, giving everything, one goes beyond misery, or one goes to nirvana. You can apply to the hearer in solitude realizes nirvana, which means the state of ahatship. In order to attain the state of an ahat, a hearer ahat, or a solitude realizer ahat, you need to overcome attachment. Only through overcoming attachment to everything, you'd be able to attain the state of an ahat. And also, when you apply to non-abiding nirvana, which is the state of Buddhahood, you need to also overcome attachment. And you do that through giving away everything, your body, possessions, and roots of virtue.
Tabi Komotovalaya, Ninjon de Metameros. And Tamchin can be Komotovalaya, and Shenjinzo, Ninji Chanjuksem, or Dindichi, and Metamechardostra.
After all, in order to attain the state of liberation where you have abandoned afflictions, you need to develop the determination to emerge from samsara, what we call renunciation. Then in order to attain the state of omniscience, the state of Buddhahood, you need an attitude of cherishing other living beings, loving kindness, compassion, the mind of enlightenment.
And Ninjong is some Chima Maimbachi Matuna, and Lamla Shutu Marlea, Taiwan Combat, intelligent top to Maras. These are the Nelulaya, Sichin, Yigden Sao in Meba, and the Tandigi Tamavegi, and it Duding Luteda, and D Chick and it Sojeki, and Longela Soba Tigitlea, a Yigden Sao in Meba Chick, and it Tony. And in Ninjon Kikudos, Mother Delia Towns shooting Shoji and the Jin Devina, and in Ninjon was setting on its own in the Omaros.
You develop the determination to emerge from your body, possessions, and roots of virtue in samsara when you see how they cannot be relied upon. This is what we renounce, or this is the meaning of to definitely emerge. You definitely emerge from your body, possessions, and roots of virtue. And if you're able to definitely emerge from them, then you'd be able to develop the path that will take you to its finality, the attainment of the state of liberation and beyond. You do that through seeing how this body of suffering, your possessions and so forth, cannot be relied upon. They are not reliable, they are not stable. Through that, you develop renunciation.
Simjin Jimbi Shin Choyimbi, Eva Simjin Jimbi Shin Choyimbi, Teleton Ribanista, Jembatanzagi Shin Chodukadi, Simjiris, the Tela Ton Ribi Zenkaris Lambi, Tamji Ton Chabjiva, Simjan on Anchos.
Second point in this section comes out of the heading of as sentient beings at the supreme field, it is reasonable to give to them. Next verse says, or the next couple of lines in verse 12, to surrender everything at once is the supreme offerings to sentient beings.
Nanzu Nimachilaya, Pa Madana, Tsutangi Imbachikinza, and Tsulu Tangi Imbaza, and that he and a dancer Chojilaya, Dansa Jilaya, Pentosa Jilaya, Angwadi, Yashucha, what is the Yashucha, that this is Simjin Shan down to Wina, Nego Kukolaya, Pentoji Gross, Pento can make you Jiliat, and Short Shabana. Any trolados.
Our body and possessions cannot be relied upon. And if you do not give them up, at some point they will give up on you. It will happen. So taking that into consideration, the best scenario would be to give them away when we can. Not only for us to give them away, but to give them away to something that is of benefit. Now, what could be a beneficial scenario of giving them away? Well, if they could be of benefit to others, that would be the best scenario. If they are beneficial to sentient beings, that would be the best way to give them up.
The Tamja Tonga Chakchipati, Tonga Dravalaya, Simjana Town, Choindi, Tell Sanjutaviches, Simjana Town, Lu Lonjo Geza, the Cheva Simjana Towns, Yons of a town, then Sanjutavis.
It says then to surrender everything at once is equal to offering it, and to offer to sentient beings is the supreme offering, because through this offering one attains enlightenment.
Rather, Kanji Rang Jinzin Yons Torche, Shen Jinzin Barshik, Jampian Barshik Tony, and a Sanji Goros, Tinza, and Jin Digi, Lu Lonjo, Tayada, Chidanchina, Chinjuros.
Only through eliminating our self-cherishing, solely through cherishing others, Buddhahood is afforded. And therefore, giving away things that belong to this life, our body, possessions, and so forth, in the great scheme of things, is something that is quite simple, quite trivial. Not being able to do that, not being able to give them away is because of ignorance, not knowing. because of afflictions.
Tasumba Tam Chidar Sula Sumis. Tenchinji Ranki Lula Ramangi Lo Torvatan. Tea Geber Shebatan. Rigvilla Javo. Tambo. Tenchinji Rangi Lula Ramangi Lo Torvani. Luso Tani Chidar Chashena. Dagi Lucian Tamchela. Lund Chidr Chesinki. Tau Sutan Pimbon. The so chinga chelara.
Let's look at the next section. How to practice once one has given them away is divided into 3 parts. First off, discarding from this day forward the mind that thinks my body is independent, then explaining the meaning of that extensively, and finally applying that to appropriate activity. Well, we begin with verse 13. It says, since I've offered this body to all sentient beings to do with it as they please, they can always kill it, criticize it, or beat it, whatever pleases them.
Dag Lucien Tamjela, Dag Lund, Chidder Chesinki, Lundela Simjan Nambi, Tau Sabata, Siki Mebon, Luki Devaso, Jingar Chela, Ra Lula, Chabatan Shenatova, Namatanju, Gava Chavos.
It begins with a question in the commentary: how shall one act upon having offered one's body? The answer that Geshe Damrenshin gives: now that I have offered this body to all sentient beings to do with it as they please, it depends on what pleases them. They can always kill it, insult it with words, or physically beat it, and so on. I must give up attachment to my body and completely give up my anger towards others.
Ji Kasota, Nazu Tamabikaya, Dukshu Dodi, and it Tam Yenda, Lu Longela, Tin Dig, and it Lu Longela, so tell anything in it. Tamanti was some Yunguras, Rangi Shimping Samlo, Shella Music there, and it Shella Maron Chedia, Shella Seva Chedia, Kanji de Tamchelo. And Luda Longula Deni Guyanza and the Zolaya, Tian Zo Delia, and the Shenja Chete Onki, Yunguyanza, and the Zugi, Niluti, the Natachi, Sanchom de Dambashi Song, Dumar Dembi Corsong, and Ludi, Dugding in such Soyoros, Dia Gumon Jerusalem Tony, and Nanzuludi, and Dungan Bashiki Tenchi Yabachi, Sortuvaina, and Chavato to Saravas.
So looking at situations that we experience, we seek reputation, fame, body, possessions. We act in a way that seeks our own victory, even if others are defeated. We take actions that are at the expense of others. We harm them in various ways. We act in a way that is completely not suitable and inappropriate. We do all of those things because of our body and possession, in a sense that we have attachment and clinging to our body and possession. So the Buddha, the Bhagavan, pointed out in the first teaching that he gives with respect to true suffering, that this body is true suffering. When you look at it from the viewpoint of cause, effect, and nature, you can come to see how this body is a body of suffering. And through that, we can start to eliminate the attachment and clinging that we have to our body and possessions.
That's something watching, something Musavicilaya, Pigitachi, Musavicilaya, Chaladamasmuda, Shana dress somebody was. Dress somebody Tolaya, and a younger Suzuki, 당진도 주도로 시대바이나 디 제당기 님 조당자 퉁고마라스 텐자 다 아니 어딘지 딱 가르쳐와이네야 니마드네 손에 딱 아니 미션 가르쳐와이네야 수주 셈만투치 셈부터지 아니 콘트마사야 소복검투야 아니 지 어딘지게 냠네 용약이 쳤다 르고 버렸어 르 가서 르론주 게자 샹라 땅 거야기 균전수 땅서에 질러야 아니 지 멘토니 땅비리 똥섬디 균경지야야 아니 로장수 거티 송고도 왔으라
So we have made heartfelt dedications where we dedicated our body and possessions to others. In that sense, we've given them away to others. So then if having done that in a heartfelt way, we still hold strongly to them, this is something that cannot really be done. It is not suitable to do it. So we need to act in a way that keeps our mind from being disturbed. We need to act in ways that is patient, that prevents the mind from being disturbed when we experience certain situations. And this is what this verse is getting at. When you have already dedicated all those things for the sake of others, you've given them away. So there is no point in still holding so strongly to them. Then the next point is explaining the meaning of this extensively. And it says, whether they use it for play, amusement, or to ridicule it, since I've already offered it, why should it concern me? The commentary says, since I've already unconditionally given my body to others, they should be able to do with it as they like. From today onwards, why should I concern myself with protecting it, even though they use it for play, amusement, or ridicule it? The next point is relating it to suitable action. I shall allow them any action that does not harm them. I shall let them do any action that benefits self and others and does not harm self or others, now and in the future. Looking at the next section, aspiring for virtue to become a cause that does not go to waste, right? So we looked at training in the thought to give away body, material wealth, and the roots of virtue. And now we're going to look at aspiring for virtue to become a cause that does not go to waste. There are 3 points in that section. Aspiring for virtue to act solely as a cause for the benefit of others. Then aspiring for virtue to act as a cause preventing such thoughts from going to waste. And finally, aspiring for virtue to act as a cause preventing the action from going to waste.
Yeah.
Excuse me. When you were talking about the body, is he talking about the physical body, or is he talking about, the aggregates, which the body is a part of?
Mm-hmm. So when we're talking about the body, are we talking here about the physical body or the aggregates the body is part of?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
The body is a part of.
Dila kap dila lu den de sage toi. Tu san le se dila solo den de la gerbe yamena dila pobon nga chasana den de shegerbe kandichinas.
chanzang la go giros chanzang la kanji nganzu gi lu nga yisum la ya bena chaba gi sa gi yul ya sama yugo dos jinz sama la go des.
Well, Geshe reckons that it refers to all of them, to all the aggregates. Like, for example, looking at our body, speech, and mind, we're attached to all of them, aren't we? And we need to give up, to relinquish the attachment to all of them.
Kanji nganzu ma kaswada zawa do di chagdang monsong toni ene chaman du yung yoba chagdang monsong pang tu na tawa de tangji ki misal ya jo tu yoba di shiza chag yonza chagdang monsong ki bi shidi lunga yisam del tu yoras ro 먼저 tama ba ya zu di ene chik chede chege ene zu do di ene lu chag dos tiang ane lu pi da chik ane 가서다 다시 풍부가 유비타는 수 아니지 수기 풍부다고지 또 먼저지 튕긴 카드지 들어있네요 수 디세 그 네멜 톨이야 뒤졌던 거다스로
We experience problems because of our anger, attachment, and ignorance. And if we want to attain a state of liberation, we have to abandon anger, attachment, and ignorance. Now, those afflictive states of mind arise in relation to, for example, our body, speech, and mind. Attachment arises in relation to our body, speech, and mind. And of them, the basis, Geshe reckons, is the body, in the sense that we have such a great sense of attachment to our body. Of the five aggregates, the main one that we're attached to is the form aggregate, the physical body. Particularly when we look at the daily activities that we take in terms of securing food and clothing and social interactions or shelter and so forth, we can see how so much effort, most of our effort, is going towards activities that cherish the body.
Yeah, and that means do namdia simjian ganyan temebo mundebo chu gyuma chuchi lo sende samba chumus gyum lo sar
But let's say some of it.
yeah
I'm sorry. So in looking at aspiring for virtue to become a cause that does not go to waste, we've been looking at aspiring for virtue to act solely as a cause for the benefit of others. So then it said, I shall allow them any action that does not harm them. I shall let them do any action that benefits self and others, that does not harm self or others, now and in the future.
the samba chumus gyum banis dala mean kandaki ton tebi sem chuma tenye ta kedaki tungun ribi kyuchis
We also dedicating it to be the source of inexhaustible virtue, which consists of a few points. Let's look at just All right, so sorry, I got a little bit confused. I should have read aspiring for virtue to act solely as a cause for the benefit of others in the last 2 lines in verse 15. So let's just look at that again. May looking at me never be meaningless. May it never become the cause for sentient beings to be disappointed when they look at me for help. Look to me for help. Then next verse, number 16, comes under the heading of dedicating the thought as the cause for inexhaustibility. May a mind of anger or faith arises directed at me. May it become the cause for all their purposes to be continually fulfilled.
달라밍이 깨워 간다기 처음 데뷔sem 좀나 셈 되니라 때네 셈 되니라 때네 따도 깨워 대다기 내가부터 터도 그 된건 주기 규규지 제보스.
The commentary to verse 16 says, regardless of whether it is a mind of anger or faith that has arisen, directed at me, may it become the cause that in all lifetimes, all their temporary and ultimate aims are achieved.
제가 간지 소소래야 간지 깨 간지 쳐봐 있네요. 내가 간지 좀 있네요. 근데 남은 주변에 소만나 신기. 아니 첼라 강투 공도 좀 세지. 저 어딘지 잘 보겠어요.
As it says in the Guru Puja, whatever I'm occasioned to meet may apply to my practices, mind training, right? So this is the type of attitude that we should take.
대령한테까지 지당기 로종을 디나니지 아니 참주선비 로종 제야야 소소의 명아 이숨기 누가 강요받디 아니 샴페인 드려야지야 땅 두고야지 제거서 또 셈래야 라리요 로종야디 칼카수 차고다 로종 당게 좀 받다 차신 차고디 여러분이 남기 손대 더 존중하는 누 손대디
So primarily this is a mind training practice of Bodhisattvas, in which we dedicate our body, speech, and mind to be of benefit to others. It's so hard to take up this training, this mind training practice. And his honest said with respect to that if you seek to develop your mind, to train your mind in this way, of the best sources that they are for training the mind is Shantideva's Guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life.
제지 가르쳐 있느냐 젬벤 바시래야 조르투야래야 아니 자와 자당기 찬주세비 냠ning 자와디 인지를 차기열라 아니 도술도 스테벌 자와디 인지로 간지 애니 순제 간다치까야 쳐봐 있느냐 용다 투야다 아니 제오공 투야기 상호지요나 되니 아니 가르쳐내야 팬딘 바시를 교쇼 세기 아니 상호디 same thing 로 same thing 다 명함 잡투서로서
Whatever we are occasioned to meet may be of benefit to others. So making such aspiration is based on compassion, which is the root for the mind of enlightenment. And this is the attitude that we want to develop, loving kindness and compassion and sense of concern for others. And in order to do that, to develop compassion, we need to develop affection to other sentient beings, to see them pleasing to one's mind. And if you're able to find other sentient being pleasing, that will be the basis for developing that sense of compassion to others that will make it possible for you to work for their sake.
이마도 간다지 가서다지 소소들 팀만된다 소소다 가마가 직총하고 때니 아니 신야와 도와 소바 원딘지 용구여라서 디 저조디 아니 신진진기 성무기 라 성무기 지 연된 타투거디 가리면 다 마시고 안 샘딘 sol 마투고 다 연구해보다 시우로 와서
Otherwise, if we're still affected by what we like or dislike, or finding someone agreeable or not agreeable, so long as we're still affected by those states of mind, for that long, we'll still continue to give up on sentient beings, to discard or to dismiss other sentient beings. And if we still have that attitude, we will not be able to apply those practices to the full extent or in their entirety.
이 때는 배시 샤즈는 다 가정한 속에 이걸 냠버때 되디 킴 세마리 킴다 아니 시집스딩이 보들 로봇치딩이 부모지요 가든다 이게 지 상황을 소딩이 혼이 하샤스 아 다시 한번 땐들 하야 되겠어 이제 디규네 아니 공다도 아, 근데 김사 가서
Kim.
깔 수자고라고. 그걸 나서 괜찮아.
거기서 민도?
근데
민도.
먼저 민족은 예사말.
So yesterday we had a long day. We've inaugurated the garden, and also we had blessing of the garden with Lama Sopa Rinpoche. In the morning session, Geshe took the time to thank all the people that have contributed both financially and also in work. And it seems that there's still a few people that are left out. You know, one of them is Kim. Kim has been working quite a lot. We had Steve that we did think, but also there's someone else that has been working with Steve. I don't know who the person is. A woman that has been working with Steve on the garden. Jess. Oh, we didn't think Jess, I think. At least at the end. I said to the volleys, Jess, and so forth. Anyway, but it is likely that there are also other people that we forgot to thank, and Geshe regrets that. So it will still keep on coming. Apologies will still keep on coming.
아니 그다 쇼경아오리 공다 치우리 치우리 로리 가는 가와이는 안 콜레야 랑상 가왔던 것으로 그 이미지를 위로 주신 맞는데 내려버 쉬면서 죽고물 먹고
Kim is working really hard. You know, whenever we have problems, even if it's at the dead of night or early morning, we call Kim immediately, and he comes up immediately and fixes what needs to be done. You know, and it's hard. He came up to Geshe. He came up to Geshe's place before and said, "It's so hard." You know, Milarepa, for example, gave up on all these facilities and necessities. It didn't need water, it didn't need, it didn't need a house, it didn't need water, and so forth.
근데 니콜이야 감망불이야 자 차고들 커피고들 라기야다 그래서 투르니 망불라이는 그 싸우니 동도 니 슈글이야 그만이 그 코르세 비다 싸우니 산에 야비오만이 삼성 소아지 메로도지 텐서고 아 자위 코 같이 겐둥기 그 겐둥 코르세 그 니밍도 스페 샘딩 통데 유로지 그런 깔리 슈자고 되냐 이 그런 칼라마도지 얘네 먼저 대비기 제 코르티 그 싸우니 먼저 치는 거 봤어.
In the 6 years that Geshe has been here, and he knows Kim for a few years now, Kim has never accepted an invitation for chai or for coffee. Geshe now thinking about it said that maybe Kim, being so devoted, is worried about taking the possession of a monastic, things that we spoke about it before, those things are called kor, things that were offered to monastics and so forth, and being so clean or pure with his attitude is probably thinking that it would be inappropriate to have tea with a monk or to have coffee with a monk.
He's very shy. He's very shy, I think. He does not look for that public, recognition at all. But I'm sure he would really love to know that Geshe thinks so highly of him. Geshe went down and got him. Thank you.
Ko min nyam chu resa. Ti kola de tu che la na pe chi koran de chi mo sa chi resa.
And then that Gordon.
Gordon. Yeah. All right. So another one that we forgot to thank, Gordon.
That's such a cousin.
And he's another one, also quite shy, fellow, does not look for that public recognition.
Koya nyam chu resa. Yeah, I guess from those, Gordon is pretty humble.
Yes.
They also cut in the Dangan Lake, cut in and on the Minton Joko Rasta, on the Chazo di Chedu, Chena Parsung, the other Karimi, and Sadreski Omaras, could be any quick than Timitoni, Chick, Calculate, Yajitan going good, calculate, your time going good, can you be near as near, could you go, Consolaya, and Segris, the job.
Yeah, the type of work that they do is never ending, right? It's not that you do it once and that's the end of thing. It's like the maintenance job that requires being active all the time. So, this is how things are done. We need someone to work like that continuously. And they will still have to continue to make changes, to fix, to do different stuff. This is the nature of the work.
Then Kazan and Shendek Muti Jarum Puyati Tunju Gun Piers. Telia with Chozoki and they show the Tony and it's Charia which Yamdu Puku yourself, the Puina and Zamachin.
Now, we also have collected offerings for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, which will be passed on through the private office at Canberra. So it's good to not just send the money, but also to enclose the really nice letter to the private office. Yeah, to write clearly how much money was offered from the people of the center and so forth. It's good to be clear in the letter.
So that one is a lamaya, the pubi, Yola, which is Sayoros. That did any Yanga, any Yarumichi, the Tony, that so you come on the Macho, most Shiva that any girl should love so Zoviavati, and it's mentioned in Namtanam, Yoros. So
we have accrued the great accumulation of roots of virtue in relation to our root lama. And even if it serves us just as one cup of tea for our root lama, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, still it brings about the completion of the accumulation. This is at least what is mentioned in the biographies of the excellent masters of the past.
Nanzu Giti, they don't the Jukyon Tatsu Yabuchigwadi, Kabam Nanzu Legaching and Gayoros, D. Talenta Maring, and Long Himangimina and Trunka Sun the Shiori, Mamba Inaya, and Yaurumita, Kongish Changare, and the Konkuchure, Korchukongare, Tosovaya, Nanzuchik, any Trunkati, and it's Sun this Girgi Tangoras, and it Je Tinza Nanzu Mambaina could Gilum Titoni, Drogo and so much seven pay up to Chisra.
And since this all came from the public, then we also have the responsibility to pass it on in a clear way, in a responsible way. So through that, we are facilitating also the support of the public. So we have celebrated the 85th birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And Geshe is hoping that in the following years, when His Holiness is 90, 95, and so forth, we'll be able to do it bigger and better.
I think on the choose of the Zerman, the chick cover in the Yabudas, a lot of Balaya, Yarum Chick Chunga Song Sichi, I think on the choose of Zerm Zutelia, and it be Shatu and Ra, and it legaching your Tama in the Zerm Zutelia, you Jukion Jogras, Ra, ding on the Tosai, Kogo Yashiti, Ra, Lami Gita, Nanger, Lami Nanger, the Resegoras. In the Lami Nanger, that Lami Kosun to be on the temple of Sob, you didn't song the chair, Lami Nanger, so it a drawers, Ra.
And it'd be good if we also do it every year in the following years, just to lock it in and make sure that that becomes one of the many events that we host His Holiness's birthday celebration. It gives us an opportunity to accumulate the collections through a sense of respect and veneration that we develop with respect to the body, speech, and mind of the lamas that we follow.
There's another question in relation to like the Buddha and our teacher. And yesterday, Lama Tsultrim was saying, when we do something in relation to the Buddha, it's always good. You look with anger, it's always good. So why, when you do something to a teacher, why is it sometimes very good and sometimes very bad? Why isn't it the same?
All right. So yesterday afternoon, Lama Tsultrim said that if you do a positive activity with respect to a Buddha, that's good. But even if you do something negative in respect to a Buddha, even that is good. So why then do we say something different with respect to our lamas? You know, if you do something positive, that's good. But if you do something negative, this is really bad. The Kasan Sobrin Buche, Kalopji Nandwa, de la Kares Nures, and that Sangila Ming Jawa Yaboch Chawaina, Gawares. Sangila Mingnes, Yan Jawa Nyambachi Chawaina, Gyunte and Dilla Sopayan. Sangila Migbat the Casa, Mibigoni, and Leia Wachides, Jawa Yaboch Chagides, and the chick. Then the Chisuncha. Then there's soon Sanochitawaina. So Lama Gewashin la Jawa Yawachi Chawaina Yawores, Deva Chichawaina Marua Chichawaina, Dikpares and Sigarwa. Keva Kareton Shagres.
Oh, details and the cousin Himajale, Yawrum Chik Song Sondi. Nansugi, Java Sing Joras, mid and me parag, Java Sing Joras. Java Chishatsa Vigilia, Tig, Java Tig Toki, any Jebuchi Mia Giores. These are Sangila, and Java Yasani, Java Tatunaya, Mount Bigi, Tito Gita, Java Sanguchi Yungures. And then Java Dusani, Java Tatuaina, Java Tito. Can't any Tagugi, Java di Mount Migioina, could Migiore. In a Java Bitogi, Java Bitogi. Mount Balaya, and it's Sangi, Koji, Toma Giagi, and it tended Java the Tapatoki, Junguris, or Dilla Waters, Madoji and Sangilaya, Semeshiva di, Semeshiva Koran, and Giola Droguris, Lagio Mares. Sangil Semeshiva Kalaya, Sangi Senjova Dig Togi, Sangi the Javaji Chapter Waters, Dig Togi, and Karsota, Mount Balaya. And Sanji Kole get to El Soba. And the Tindian Goris, or Dilla Goris.
His Holiness the Dalai Lama referred to that point also before. He said that it's about creating a connection with, for example, a Buddha. So you can create a connection in a positive way, but a connection can also be created in a negative way. So you can create a connection with a Buddha in a positive way through the performance of virtue, right? So you've done a virtuous action, but you also created a connection. You can also create a connection with the Buddha through an action that is negative. But it doesn't make the action become positive. The action itself is still negative. So, for example, you might disparage a Buddha, criticize a Buddha and so forth in mentioning the name. So the action itself will not be virtuous, it will still be non-virtuous, but still you have created a connection. So through creating a connection with a Buddha, if it's a positive connection, that's good, but even if it's negative, just through having a connection with a Buddha, in the future, we might be born in the retinues of a Buddha, just through simply having a connection with a Buddha.
Pena jawram sitawala ya ngus charche ani khabdi chabayna khabdi chaya di chawadi ani zapchen shures di togi nyawam ta meba ki goji yungu yores inya di ngus jeba di togi mom balaya ani jawram che ani chog tugi number chin zambali la phebe kalaya ani charan di dus ani korji thomala yagi ani tendrela so tendri yungu yores.
So it was stated that even if you, for example, meet the Dalai Lama directly and you oppose him in that meeting, it depends upon rising up against his honest. When you meet them face to face, so to speak, then you will create such a negative action that will cause you to take a miserable rebirth in hellish states of existence without respite or without an end. But still, just by the virtue of creating a connection with His Holiness the Dalai Lama in the future, there is a hope or aspiration, token of auspiciousness, for being born in his presence or in the ranks of his disciples when he manifests the state of a supreme Nimanakaya. And that will come through the affectionate love of Buddha, the affectionate love of His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Pilaya ngus jawa chongyo zan jawa ti togi ani maumbalaya ani yaga chita khatang wa to bi ani kyunju chewa ta di togi ani chi ya name do nyongwa ya ti yonggo yoras kanji chongwa ina bi kanta jawro chitabalaya khattu ina ya 아니 대박 말로야 가두기네 이는 연등이 참 큰다 두개 주나 제자들에서 약시들에서
And the same thing can be said with respect to our spiritual teachers. Right? So if we act positively in relation to them, that's good. But even when we act in a negative way in relation to them, you consider there are two aspects to that. One of them is a negative aspect, of course, in acting in a non-virtuous way, or in a negative way with respect to them. But also, you can say that from the positive side, there is a connection to this being created. So the same thing can be said. So for us, when we then think about it, the most important thing is to make sure that our faith in a spiritual teacher is an irreversible faith, that we do not turn back on the faith that we have in them, and that we still appreciate the good qualities. So, for example, it is said that it is certain, 100% certain, that the protector Maitreya will take rebirth in this world. Sorry, not take rebirth. Appear as a supreme Nimanakaya in this world.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's leave it here for now. Put the prayers on the screen. Niyododa Lama Sange Gurgele Doa Chika Maripa Te Salago Parasho Chanchu Sencho Rinpoche Make Panake Gyuchi Devanya Pape Payon Kone Kondo Kawasho Nari Rawe Kole Shinkanti Vendan Dewa Malu Chulene Cherezi Watensi Yatsoi Shape Sinte Padu Tenguchi Toto Janchi Jangan Yahweh Tensi Topelwe Kunso Topos Choso Kowe Manchuju Ada Soju Kondu Shate.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you.
I don't know. Oh.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kashala.
Thank you, Reverend Cousin.
I have a cousin.
Yeah. Thank you.
Why doesn't it work? Nothing is working.
Gonna finish that up.
Yeah. Are you traveling home?
I'm staying.
Staying tonight?
Staying for a couple days.
Wow.
Yeah. How did you survive that? You had no coffee? You gone your way to
Oh my God, that was
torture, was it?
well.